We have a couple more minutes, so I'll just give everyone a second to log on. If you haven't noticed, I have changed the location of my recording studio. Usually I'm down in my basement with my weird lighting, but finally finished the mural in my room. So we're up here now. And it is just about 1 o'clock or 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we will go ahead and get started. Welcome. My name is Kaya. This is going to be 30 minutes of yin yoga. Thank you so much for logging on to the OU Virtual Fitness YouTube channel. So if you're new to yin yoga, we're going to be just we're just going to be holding some restorative postures for anywhere from 2 to 6 minutes, really working into the connective tissues of the body. So the fascia, the ligaments, the tendons, all that, really releasing our muscles and just letting gravity do its work on our body in our postures. So I recommend having a couple props nearby. And if you don't have any yoga props, that's totally fine. You can use anything you have at your house. So the first one is a bolster. So if you have some regular sized pillows, those work great. I like to use 2 in lieu of a bolster to give you that support. And then we're also going to be using a blanket. So any blanket works. And I've rolled it up long ways like this, and you'll see what I'll do with it in a bit. And the other one that's helpful to have for today's practice is a block. So if you have a big book that's about this size, that works just the same as well. We'll be using it to support our head and just to find space between our feet in some of the postures. A couple more things. I won't be playing any music today because of copyright law. So if you have any ambient music or down tempo that you like that isn't distracting for your practice, you can just play that. And if you're participating in the Nurse and Movement Challenge, please log on after class and log your hours so we can get up to that first place position. Great. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get started in a supported fish. So we'll start with our pillows or our bolster. Bend our legs out long. Bring our hips almost against our bolster. And then just lay our spine up against our bolster. You can let your arms come out by your sides or at a T for some more heart opening, maybe even overhead if that feels okay. Maybe you try it and it doesn't work for you and you just bring those arms back down. And just start to settle into your breath here, starting to notice the sensations in your body. You're starting to bring more and more awareness into your inhales, sending those inhales to the areas of the body where you have sensation. And once you've started to become aware of the natural length and depth of your breath, we'll start to come into our box breath, the breath that we like to use for yin yoga. And we call it a box because it's shaped like a box. The inhale and the pause and the exhale and the pause are all the same length. And we'll start with a 4 count for each one. So begin by exhaling, completely releasing your lungs of all air. And then we'll inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause at the top, hold your lungs full. And exhale, 2, 3, 4. Pause at the bottom, hold your lungs empty. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Pause, stay full. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Pause, stay empty. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, all the way into the belly. Pause at the top. Exhale, slowly release. 3, 4, pause at the bottom. And try to keep your muscles relaxed as you stay devoid of air. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, pause. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, pause. And inhale again, continuing with your box breath on your own count. So if you like the 4 count, you can stay with it. If you'd like a little bit longer or a little bit shorter breath, do feel free to take that. Just coming into your own natural cycle of box breath, finding a length and depth that works for you, and finding an evenness, a box between all 4 sections of breath. Beginning to notice the thoughts that naturally cross through the brain, and refusing the urge to take judgment on those thoughts. Just notice them, notice what they are, notice what your brain lingers on, and then like a cloud, just watch it gently float away. Last round of box breath in this posture. Then use your inhales to gently start to press into your arms and your forearms and your hands, to press yourself back up to a seat, keeping your neck supported. Great. Then we'll come to a cross-legged seat. So if you like to sit up with your hips above your knees here to make this a little easier on the low back, you're welcome to. You can sit on your pillows or on your block, whatever feels good. We won't be here for too long. We're just going to inhale to reach the arms up and overhead, lifting out of the low back. And then exhale, drop the right hand down to the mat, reach overhead with the left hand for a side body stretch, and start dropping the right elbow towards the mat. Maybe it touches, doesn't have to. Your gaze can send up underneath your left armpit. Maybe you drop your right ear down towards your right shoulder. Find some rest here. Really inhale into the left armpit, the left ribs. Inhale to gently rise back through center. Hands come towards the sky. And exhale to side bend over to the other side. Left hand drops to the mat. Right arm works overhead. Maybe the left elbow reaches towards the mat as you breathe into your right side body. And release through the neck. Let the left ear drop towards the left shoulder. Keep sending your breath into the areas of the body where you feel the sensation. Inhale to gently come back through center. And exhale, drag the hands towards center as you release them down towards your lap. Great. Then we'll come into a few butterfly variations. So if you are up on a bolster or a block, I recommend you sit your hips back down on the ground here. What we'll do is we'll bring the soles of our feet to touch in front of us and kind of just judge how far you want your feet away from you based on how it feels. So we're going to start with our feet a little in, and then later we'll move to moving them a little out. So I would say there's about a foot between my hips and my feet here. And then a couple different props that I like to use here. The big one is the blanket. So if you have your rolled up blanket, you can place it over your ankles and then tuck it underneath or over, and then underneath, so that you kind of have a little support for your legs. You can also place your pillows underneath your knees or your blocks if you have them. And then if you have a block or a textbook here, you can place it here as we're going to start to work forward and release our forehead down. So if you don't have a block, we'll do the same thing. We'll just slowly start to wiggle our fingers forward, just stopping wherever the spine and back ask you to stop. And then you can let the neck hang heavy, let the head fold forward. Feel that opening through the upper back, through the shoulders. What's really important here is that we're working our edge. This is the first and then, in my opinion, the most important principle of yin, is that we're finding the space in every posture where it's not completely uncomfortable, where we can't breathe, but and not quite comfortable either. Just that perfect spot in between where we can settle in, find some breath, find our edge, and be challenged here. Wherever that edge is, really just let your shoulder heads roll forward. Let the gravity do its work on your back here. Breathe into the low back, into the hips. Each time your mind says, I can't do this, I want to come out, just come back to your breath. Allow it to sink you a little deeper. Maybe not physically, maybe just energetically, you drop in. As we approach about a minute in this posture, you can take inventory again and see if you have some more space to move into the posture. You can melt a little deeper if that's the case. You also have my permission to move out of this pose a little bit if you feel you've passed your edge. And take that opportunity to find a spot that's sustainable in this posture, and then settle back into your box breath. Use your inhale to slowly inch your hands back in towards you. Straighten the spine towards the ceiling. Really slowly easing out of this. Good. And then, like I said, we're going to take another variation of this pose. So you can move your blanket off to the side if you have it. We're just going to scoot our heels a little bit farther away from us so that we have a longer diamond as opposed to a square, as I guess it was. And then we're going to move our feet apart. So I'm using about a block's distance in between my feet. It's about a foot. You don't need to have a block in between your feet, although it does help if you can come forward to rest your forehead on. And again here, if you'd like to place your blanket underneath your ankles again, or if you need to grab any kind of prop so that you can find comfort in this pose, feel free. Well, this may be plenty of sensation right here, so you can stay with your back straight, or you can start to wiggle the fingers forward, again, working towards finding your edge, just stopping wherever the back and hips ask you to stop, and then letting the shoulder heads roll forward, letting the head hang heavy, finding some restoration, some breath in this posture. We'll be here for about 3 minutes. Just like with our thoughts, we take inventory of our impulses to move without passing judgment. So notice if you're really antsy, if you're wiggling your fingers or your toes, or if you're constantly moving in and out of the pose, just notice where that impulse is coming from. If it truly is because you passed your edge, then please, by all means, move out of the pose and find your edge. You want to find some place that's sustainable to rest in. But also notice if you just have the impulse to move because you haven't in a while, because it's second nature. And if that's the case, come back to the breath. Use that 4-part breath, the box breath, as your focal point. And settle in energetically or physically. Got just about 1 more minute here. Come deeply to your breath. Focus everything you have on evening the inhale, pause, exhale, pause. Release through the neck, through the jaw, through the eyebrows. And your next inhale starts to walk you back in, nice and slow, easing out of this pose. Good. Remove your props out of the way, off to the side if they're in your way. Might want to keep your block or a pillow close by. We're going to work down towards our back. Hug your knees into your chest. Bring your arms out to a T by your sides and drop both knees over to the right, keeping the legs stacked. If this feels uncomfortable for you, what you can do is place that pillow or that block in between your knees or even underneath both to give you a little more space here. And if it feels all right for your neck, you can send your gaze over your left fingers. Breathe into the twist here. Notice how that inhale travels differently through your body in this wound up position. Release any muscles you may be holding in the low back, the belly, the thighs, the feet. Just sink down into the ground. Inhale to lift the left knee back towards center, followed by the right. Maybe you shift your hips back over slightly to the right before dropping both knees over to the left. Supine twist, other side. Again, we keep our right shoulder grounded, maybe sending the gaze over the right fingers. And then as you settle in, even though the sensation may not be as intense as it has been in the past poses, using this opportunity to find that square breath, the box breath, one last time before your Shavasana. Again, lift the right knee back towards center using the inhale, followed by the left. Straighten out the spine. Maybe you give your shins one last hug. And then we'll exhale to release everything down to the mat. Final resting pose, Shavasana. Hands come out by the sides, palms up. Maybe you shimmy your shoulder blades underneath you, just a little gentle heart opening in your relaxation. And then release your box breath if you've still got a hold on it. Just release any remaining tension. Just melt down into the ground and take Shavasana. Start to bring some awareness back into the breath. Dragging the inhale back down all the way into the belly. Open the mouth nice and loud, sigh it out. Again, inhale, bringing movement back into your fingers and your toes, your face, your ankles, your wrists. Rock your head from side to side, releasing the neck. And then inhale to reach up and overhead for a good morning stretch. Flex the toes towards the face and then away from you. And then using your arm as a pillow, bring the soles of your feet to the mat. Gently roll to your right side, supported fetal position. Just take a moment here to allow the effects of your practice to wash over you. To notice how your breath feels different, how your mind feels different. And then gently pressing into your hands, come up to a tall cross-legged seat. Let your head be the last thing to come up. Bring your palms together in front of heart center. We'll close today's practice with a chant of Om. You can join me or just listen. Begin by exhaling, releasing breath from the lungs. One cleansing breath together. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. And we inhale for the Om. Thumbs to your third eye center. May you have peace in your thoughts. Thumbs to your heart center. May you have peace in your heart. And thumbs to your mouth. May you have peace in your words. Together we bow and say, Namaste. Thank you guys so much for joining me for this yin sequence today. As I said, my name is Kaya. I normally teach at this time, Wednesdays, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as well as Mondays at the same time, 30 minutes of yin. And I also have lots of other yoga videos on our channel, yin sequences, vinyasa sequences. So if you're ever looking for something to practice, I hope those will be of some help to you. If you're participating in the movement challenge, please do go log your hours and make sure you check out all of our other awesome virtual fitness offerings. Thank you. Take care, yogis and bobcats.